check the low end. Vocal sitting in the pocket. Yeah, we finding the balance today. Check the low end.
Resonance travels through the floor before it reaches the ear. A patient frequency that doesn't need to announce it's here. I extract the rhythm from the sediment of noise. Keep the vehicle earthbound. Honor the infrastructure's poise. Clarity isn't loudness. Strip the frequency and wait. The mood reveals itself before the deadline. Before the laid upright walk in the low register. Deliberate degrees. Moving the listener inward where the structural leads. No raised voice required. The message lives inside the chest. The neighborhood has heard enough shouting. Give it rest. I read the spectrum for the architecture of the sound. The silence between elements is weight-bearing ground. The drowning in the volume while the space goes unaddressed. But the surgical placement of a rest is what gets blessed. Monument from air, frequency shaped by trained hands. The care and the approach is what the listener understands.
It's all in the frequencies. The center holds the soul. That love reigns it. The evidence of control. Base is the foundation, not decoration, not a flex.
Not a flex.
Warm infrastructure built to carry what comes next.
Snare snaps without puncturing. The ear was never the target. The fear dissolves not through the loud but through the architectures. Vocal centered, bright but not aggressive. Present, not performing. The shadow swallowed half the room before I started warming. Bitter and the sweet in the same measure, same bar. Street level alchemy of knowing where you are. Analog temperature against the cold of port cement. The recording is the evidence. The time was correctly spent. Mic holds the grain and grit. The voice's texture has a surface. The generation needs the option, not the verdict. And the purchase, not a factory. We're tracing where the crack runs through the slab. The repair is in the listen, and the listen is the lab. Groove is a body thing. A lateral way transfer the anxiety. There's off the bars will go a quarter after. Process the depth, the surface is a courtesy. Get covered, then determine how you move with what you find under.
It's all in the frequency. On the frequency, the center holds the soul. The matter range is the evidence of control. Base is the foundation, not decoration, not a flex, not a flex. Warm infrastructure built to carry what comes next. It's all in the frequencies. The center holds the soul.
Session burning to the wick. The candle chose to stay, capturing the specific weight of a specific day. Tape absorbs the truth the way the room absorbs the voice. Preserving the unrepeatable, the involuntary choice. Instruments breathing as a single organism. No conductor, a disciplined arrangement where the mastery is a structure. Needle follows the topography of the groove walls. Ridge, the emotion stored in wax is crossing every bridge. Legacy built on the rigorous. No shortcut, no approximation. The blueprint for the quality outlast a generation. Architects receive the way your honest labor does. Leaving what they built for what it is, not what it was. Might have been engineers who worked behind the glass and stayed, who polished the raw material into something that was made.
All in the frequencies,
all in the frequencies.
The center holds the soul. Now in the phrases, yes, the evidence of control. The base is the foundation, not decoration, not a flex,
not a flex.
A warm infrastructure built to carry what comes next. It's all in the frequencies,
all in the frequencies.
The center holds the soul. Dial in the ranges, yes, the evidence of control. Base is the foundation, not decoration, not a flex,
not a flex.
A warm infrastructure built to carry what comes next.
Levels locked, mixers riding. Let it ring peace. Levels locked. Mixers riding. Let it ring peace.
Check the ego, not the sound. The man behind it, yeah, start there. I built a careful architecture out of adjectives and pose. Commenced the room with listening every time I chose to speak. The confidence was scaffolding, nothing underneath but cold. A structure borrowed from the image of the man I'm meant to be. Ego needs an audience, the way your fire needs the air. Feed it validation or it starts to eat the furniture. I catalog my virtues like a merchant counts his stock. Ignore the ledger on the other side. The debt's the rot. 4 years chasing certainty through every borrowed creed. Stoic in the morning, something else by 2 a.m. The discipline was costume. Wore it for the ones who watched, took it off at at home and found the same uncertainty. This is not confession, it's accounting. The ego doesn't die, you just stop funding it. Somewhere between the pose and me, exhaustion of the pose is where I found the first thing that was actually mine.
Philosophy without the self-examination is decor.
Hang it on the wall, admire it.
Never open up the door. I kept the theory clean and let the practice go to ride.
Yeah, upright philosophy.
Let's talk about the parts I'm not.
Yeah, read Marcus Aurelius on the drain to somewhere else. Underline the passages that flatter what I felt. Skip the ones about the anger, skip the envy and the pride. Built a version of the stoic with my own convenient blind. That's the oldest trick. The scripture becomes mirror, reflects exactly what you brought and nothing that is clearer. I need someone to sit still and tell me I was wrong. Not cruel, just accurate. The truth delivered calm and long. Found it in the silence when the argument was done. When the other person left and I was left with what I'd won. The winning felt like standing in a room with broken glass. Nothing left to shatter but the story I'd amassed. So I started with the question I've been circling for years. What remains of who you are when no one's watching, no one hears? The answer came back quieter than anything I'd said. More honest than the philosophy I kept inside my head.
Philosophy,
Yeah, philosophy.
without the self-examination is decor.
Yeah, control is the illusion that the competent maintain until the variable arrives that wasn't in the plan. And the system shows it seems the careful and the vain are equally exposed when life refuses what you ran. I used to think surrender was the posture of the weak. Turned out it was the only door to anything concrete. Not surrender to despair, surrender to what's true. The radical acceptance of the limits of your view. The self you're so committed to defending and refining is most but just a habit with a very long timeline. Interrupt the habit, sit inside the interruption. That uncomfortable nothing is the start of reconstruction. I'm not enlightened, I've just made the same mistakes enough to recognize the pattern and to call a pattern's bluff. The philosophy was always simpler than I made it sound.
Stop performing who you are.
Find out, write it down. Ego check. Not once daily.
Start with what you're hiding.
Peace. Check the ego. Yeah. Check the ego.
We live in a room. No sequences, no quantizing. Blood, sweat, and the pocket. Let's work. Yo. Drummer sweating through the shirt, not the collar, he's committed. Every ghost note is a conversation not submitted. I feel the wood floor flex before I reach the microphone. The room is already talking, I'm just adding to what's known. Bass player walking with the callous, doing all the grammar. Every slight behind the beat prevents the timing from the stammer. We're a biological unit, the hot mind doesn't vote. It just finds the pocket and it lives inside the note. Roads bites with that particular grit of something slightly worn. The beautiful imperfection is the proof that it was born. Hi-hat swings and I lock into the arc of the exact vocal sitting where the pocket opens up a crack. Cables crossing amplifiers, sustaining a low hum. The honest sound of where the whole tradition came from. Organic sequence, breathing, present in the room. No grid to approximate, no algorithm to consume. We move with the feel of it. The tempo is alive. The instrument is honest when the player has to drive. Guitarist landing on the minor ninth, like punctuation. Navigating changes with a physical education. I drop the multisyllabic, lock it to the kicks address. Avoided predictable, the formulated, the compressed. Energy dips and recovers, it's a respiratory thing. The room exhales between the bars and fills back for the ring. Studio is the lung, the ancestors provide the air. The lyrics are the carbon dioxide, the music is the prayer. Catch the overtone that lives above the note being played. The singer resistance in the back row starts to fade. Active dialogue of craft, the soul negotiates the terms. The live tradition holds its ground against the synthetic germs. Snare rings off the plaster of refusal and a shout against the weightless, the convenient and the figured out. I push the velocity against the diaphragm and breathe. The listener is carried past the surface to beneath. Organic sequence, breathing, present in the room. No grid to approximate, no algorithm to consume. We move with the feel of it. The tempo is alive. The instrument is honest when the player has to drive. Yeah. Organic sequence on. Yo. Organic sequence on. Yo. Organic sequence on. Yo.
Climax without announcement, the band just finds a trance and improvised cartography, an unrepeatable dance, pocket deeper than the well behind the house that got condemned, with stories in the instruments that won't be told again. I pull the volume to a whisper, let the room fill in the rest. The adrenaline of silence is the most demanding test. Drummer drops the heavy crash and restructures what was built. The ash of the unnecessary settles without guilt. We leave the errors in the tape forgives, the tape preserved. The imperfection is the evidence the session deserved. Cause soul absorbs the session heat like concrete in July. The residual transfers to the street and doesn't lie. Timbers ringing past the outro, past the final word. A monument to every physical decision that occurred. Organic sequence locked, no metadata, no code. Just the way the people move when music carries the load. The load, the load, the load, the load. Organic sequence on, yeah, yeah. Organic sequence on, yeah. Organic sequence on, yeah, yeah. Organic sequence on, yeah. Organic sequence on, yeah, yeah. Let the cymbals ring out. Live from the basement, keep it breathing. Peace.
Dim the lamps, let the tape roll. Leave the hiss. We need the hiss tonight. She doesn't flatter. That's the first thing that I noticed, the way she looked at me, like she already knew the count. Not cold, just clear, like water before you muddied it. I've been living in the version of myself that needed confirmation to feel real. She handed me the mirror, the way a surgeon hands the scalpel. Not unkind, but not concerned with your comfort either. You get used to people reflecting back what you prefer. Then someone shows you the unedited, and you have to decide what to do with that. Smoke velvet, the truth delivered warm and slow. Not what I wanted, what I needed, she already knew. Smoke velvet, the most loving thing is the accurate view. I came with the rehearsed version, the curated wounds, the charming damage. She wasn't interested in the performance, wanted the draft, the unrevised. 3 in the morning, kitchen table, she said you apologize for things you're not sorry for. I sat with that for longer than I'd sat with any text I read. The intimacy I've been searching for was on the other side of being actually seen. Not seen kindly, just seen accurately, yeah. There's a courage in the woman who refuses to participate in your mythology, who loves you in the daylight without adjusting for the glare. Smoke velvet, the truth delivered warm and slow. She already knew. Smoke velvet, the most loving thing is the accurate view. I used to think love was the softening of every edge. Turns out the edges were the places I'd refuse to touch. She touched them without ceremony. Not to wound, to locate, you can't heal a thing you haven't first agreed exists. By the time the chord resolves, I understand what the trumpet's been saying in the back. Grief and love are not opposites, they share the same address. I'm still learning how to stay when being seen becomes uncomfortable. Still learning that the discomfort is the whole point. Fade us down slow, lead a warmth, we out.
Oh yeah. The body already knows, listen, the answer was in my chest. Before I finished asking, the rational arrives with its brief. The body's already left the building. I built a courtroom in my head. Every feeling had to argue its case. The committee stayed in session for years. The committee was wrong. The titan at 4 in the afternoon, the one that said this is not your room, was right the whole time. I just kept revising the story around it. Tape is therapy, learning to hear what lives underneath. Before the analysis, before the second guessing. The body's not metaphor, the body is the lesson. Tape is therapy, learning to hear what lives underneath. Before the analysis, before the second guessing. The body's not metaphor, the body is the lesson. There's a conversation below the conversation. The exhale at a certain threshold, the shoulders dropping in a particular presence without being asked. The stomach tightening its flattery. That's not nothing, that's the oldest instrument you own. Giving you its reading, none of it conclusive, all of it worth noting. I stopped overriding without at least acknowledging what I was overriding. No, tape is therapy, learning to hear what lives underneath. Before the analysis, before the second guessing. The body's not metaphor, the body is the lesson. Tape is therapy, learning to hear what lives underneath. The intuition isn't mystical, it's just faster than the words. Years of pattern compressed into a feeling, arriving before the argument assembles. I ask the body first now, then I consult the mind, not one over the other, both in that order. The hiss on the tape is an error. It's the room, the temperature, the hour, who is standing there. The clean version loses all of that. I want the hiss, I want what was actually in the room. Let the chord decay. Don't reach for the mute, the body knows when to let go. Trust it. Trust it, peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Paint the picture. Words out of brush, the beat is the frame. Look close at the strokes. Yeah. Y'all intellect stretched on the rack of a neighborhood that contracts. The philosophical rain arrives without a forecast. I read the portrait for the suffering embedded in the joy. The puzzle handed to a child is different for a boy. But watch the corner change his inventory twice a year. Snare marking each transition with a punctuation clear. We stand where the delay is documented in the concrete. The blemishes and cosmetic is structural and it's deep. Piano fragments, someone's memory run through a chopper blade. The freedom that was promised and the freedom that was paid. I stitched the metaphor into the tear along the seam. Attempt to reanimate the casualty they call the dream. Bass pushes through the debris of a decade underwater, forces you to face the arithmetic of laws. Palettes umber, cinder block, the gray of a foreclosed door. The neighborhood has colors, they just don't make paint for those anymore. A canvas of the mind, strokes that cut and hold. The evidence is hanging where the gallery gets cold. Rhythm is the exhibition, the admission price is real. You gotta sit with what you see before you start to heal. Yeah, I drag the brush through everything the environment absorbed. The hue of what the neighborhood inherited and ignored. Struggle on the page is not aesthetic, it's a fact. The territorial anger is the rent you pay for being at the back. A splice, the yellow in a sliver where the light survived. Evidence the marathon continues for the ones alive. Kick drum demanding the respect and never asked for twice. A force that redirected every calculated sacrifice. Rewrite the literature of those whose mouths were reassigned. Puerto Rican town
contamination from the water in the mind. Vocal up front, no distance between message and the ear. The transmission to the squad cuts through the atmosphere. Don't stop at the surface. The gloss is applied deliberately to make the loss invisible. The magnitude runs free. I hang that evidence at eye level on the wall. History is patient, it can wait for the eventual fall. A canvas of the mind, strokes that cut and hold. Gallery opens, the ends without coats to face the documentation in between the brushstroke notes. Exhibition locked in wax, the facts are non-negotiable. The comfortable interpretation is no longer available. Music is the transport for the weight nobody schedules. Down the broken road where the infrastructure levels. I clean the brushes, feel the universe adjust its tilt. The clarity arrives precisely after all the guilt. Mix it, strip the fiber, every gear exposed with the light. The machine that ran the neighborhood is finally in sight. We offer what we found inside the wound, packaged in a rhyme. The lacerations cut by years are older than our time. Canvas holds the paint past what the paint was meant to hold. A monument to everything, the living and the cold. The mark stays in the dark after the masterpiece is gone. The scar is how the community navigates from.
Paint is dry, study the details.
Yeah.
Resurrection of the mind. Peace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yeah, this isn't the version I rehearsed. That one was better. This one's true. I spent my 20s in the third person, watching myself from a flattering angle, narrating the story of a man with conviction, while the actual man was mostly improvising. The confidence was load-bearing, remove it and the whole structure gets honest about what was actually holding what. Ambition dressed as principle, principle dressed as ambition. I couldn't always tell which was which, and I wasn't asking. The asking would've cost too much mid-stride, so I kept moving. Collected the evidence of progress, organized it into a version of a life that rid well from a certain distance. Closer up, it was just a man running from the audit. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo, you don't. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo, you don't. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo, you don't. Yo, 34, I said something in an argument I'd said a dozen times before. I heard it from the outside for the first time. Not cruel, just hollow, the kind of hollow that means the thing was never solid. You just carried it fast enough that the weight felt like substance. I left the argument and went and sat somewhere quiet and tried to locate the belief behind the statement. Found the performance, found the need to win, found a specific fear the winning was defending against. Didn't find the belief, that was the night the inventory started. Not flagellation, inventory, what's actually here, what's borrowed, what's mine. The reckoning isn't punishment, it's cartography. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. Yo. The reckoning doesn't announce itself. I'm not the man I narrated. I'm closer to the man I didn't mention. The one who needed the narrative to be convincing, because the underlying uncertainty was too expensive to admit. That man is more interesting than the other one, more specific, more actually here. The performance required a general version of a self, broad enough to sell, smooth enough to maintain. The truth is narrower and stranger and harder to hold. I'm practicing holding it without immediately turning it into a better story. Just the thing itself, underrated. The reckoning isn't over, it's the new operating condition. I'm learning to work inside it instead of around it. That's the whole update, that's the only news. The man who needed to look good and the man who wants to be honest are negotiating slowly without a moderator. No verdict, just an ongoing examination. That's enough for now, peace.
Yeah, turn the lights down. Let the roads breathe. Take your time, yeah, yeah.
Velvet has a nap. Run your hand against the grain and feel it. The sharpest edge you know becomes negotiable beneath it. I ride the tempo like a man who finally learned to rest. The colors in the peripheral align without request. Step off the concrete where the foot has learned the impact. Let the lower frequencies convince the spine to relax. Piano dripping under the weight of a suspended cord. Something caught between the note and silence, unexplored. I speak below the threshold where the boundary thins. The outer frequency connects to where the inner begins. They want the return before the cost has been recorded. The lesson in the patience is the lesson they afforded. Baseline is the mortar between the ancient and the new. The philosophy that holds the wall is older than the view. A masterpiece is mostly revision, mostly doubt. The grace is in the stadium when the instinct says get out.
Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture. Analog warmth is the guide, not the destination. The compartment opens slowly, that's not hesitation. Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture. Analog warmth is the guide, not the destination. The compartment opens slowly, that's not hesitation.
Rim shot tapping the side of the wood. A neighborhood percussion. The remedy arrived before the diagnosis, before the discussion. I rap the syllables deliberate, not decorative, structural. The sea goes in the dark because the dark is infrastructural. Trumpet muted in the register is something that survived. Its presence in the back is proof the session is alive. We cook slow. The hours are the ingredient, not the obstacle. The flower in the music, and the music in the botanical studio. A sanctuary, the same function, different scripture. The answer lives inside the question, inside the picture. No ego in the process, service is the only entry. The poetry arrives from the involuntary, the elementary. Vocal at the ear, not broadcast, not announced. The fear begins to dissolve at the decibel I pronounce. The finish is considered, not flawless considered. The signal carries further when the source is unconditional.
Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture. And a lot of warmth is the guide, not the destination. The compartment opens slowly, that's not hesitation. Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture. And a lot of warmth is the guide, not the destination. The compartment opens slowly, that's not hesitation.
Fate is locked where the ear confirms before the eye agrees. The sacrifice is mostly time, the rest of it is these. The hours in the booth when nobody was listening yet. The monitor reflecting back the version you'd forget. We give this to the ones arriving past the closing hour. Exhausted by the accumulation of the borrowed power. Tape rewinding the archive doesn't editorialize. A document that holds a session without compromise. Headphones in, reduce the room to take essential signal. The poise is just the discipline that made the fear subliminal. The legacy is not the inventory or the chain. It's the structural integrity of shelter in the rain. Velvet permanent, the analog embrace our last format. The warmth decoded in the wax is not a comment.
Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture. And analog warmth is the guide, not the destination. The compartment opens slowly, that's not hesitation. Trapped in the velvet blueprint, a softer architecture. The physical and spiritual in the same lecture.
Warm it up, warm it up, warm it up, warm it up. Bass thick, highs, clean. Yeah. We out. Warm it up.
She worried the way other people breathe. Constant, unconscious, necessary. I inherited the weather.
My mother checked the locks 3 times before bed. Not because the neighborhood was dangerous, because the anxiety needed somewhere to go. and the locks were available. I thought that was just how evenings ended, didn't know it was a symptom until I found myself at 31, standing at my own door at midnight, hand on the handle, counting. The body learns what the body lives with, not the lesson, the atmosphere. The low-grade hum of expecting the worst doesn't announce itself as fear. It announces itself as practicality, as being the kind of person who's prepared. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feels like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feels like cursed delight. Inherited weather feel like inheritance, feels like personality. Inherited weather, feel like inherited. She came from a place where the worst had a history arriving. The anxiety was accurate once, adaptive, correct. Then the conditions changed and the system didn't update. Kept running the old protocol in a new environment. I understand it now. What I didn't understand for years was that I'd installed the same system without knowing there was a choice. The therapist called it inherited trauma. I called it being realistic. We were describing the same furniture from different sides of the room. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feels like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feels like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feel like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance. Called her on a Sunday, told her I'd been working on the anxiety, that I'd finally traced it back. She was quiet for a moment, then she said, I'm sorry. I told her there was nothing to be sorry for. She said, I know I'm sorry anyway. That's the thing about the inheritance, she didn't choose to give it. She was just living her life, and I was standing close enough to absorb the frequency. We're both in repair now, different methods, same direction. The weather isn't gone, but I can see it now as weather. External, temporary, not the truth of the room. That's the whole distance between inherited and chosen. It took 30 years to walk it, and still checking the lock sometimes, but I know why now. That's the difference. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feel like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feel like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance, feel like personality. Inherited weather doesn't feel like inheritance.
She kept the hard things to herself, called it protecting us. We felt it anyway. Silence has a shape. She never talked about before we came. The years that preceded us were a closed country, no currency, no visa, no passaging. Once I found a photograph in a drawer, her younger somewhere I didn't recognize, laughing at something outside the frame. I'd never seen that laugh. That was a version of her that existed before she became our mother, before the self contracted around the responsibility of us. I held the photograph for a long time, put it back exactly where I found it, never mentioned it. Some things you understand without the conversation. What she kept, the grief she folded small enough to fit inside an ordinary day. The version of herself she quietly retired. I built myself out of what she offered. I've been learning slowly what she kept. She was practical about emotion, not cold practical. The way of person is practical. When they've learned that falling apart has a cost nobody else will pay. I absorb it as the correct way to be efficient with feeling functional under pressure. The therapist called it emotion suppression. I called it getting things done. We were in the same building, different floors. What I understand now that I didn't then. She wasn't teaching me to suppress. She was just surviving in front of me. I was taking notes. I didn't know I was taking. What she kept, the grief she folded small once late as to dinner, whether she had regrets. She thought about it the way she thinks, thoroughly without performance. She said, not about you kids. I said, what about the other parts? She says, some, and that was it. The most honest thing she ever gave me was that single unelaborated word, some. Not a confession, not a door open, just the acknowledgement that the closed country had contents, and she knew it and I knew it, and we could coexist with the knowing. I don't need the full inventory, I just needed to know there was one. The silence after that was different, not empty, inhabited. We sat in it together for a while. That was enough, that was everything. What she kept, but brief she thought it small enough. Still not asking, but I understand the question now. That's something key.
Nobody ended it. That's the part that's hard to explain. It ended anyway. 11 years, 2 apartments, 1 house. The dog who died in year 7 and left a space in the bed neither of us discussed. The shape of the marriage changed around year 9. Not dramatically, marriages don't usually end dramatically. They end the way a fire does, when there's nothing left to catch, still burning technically. But the heat is different, and everyone can tell we kept the structure. Dinner at 7, weekends the way we'd always done them. The rituals became the relationship. Somewhere in year 10, the relationship had moved out quietly and left the rituals behind to hold the space. We were both too tired to name that, or too scared, I'm still not sure which. The distance between, not an argument, not a betrayal, just the accumulation of unspoken things that make a room feel larger than its square footage. We were living in a very large room and calling it closeness. I don't say that with bitterness, I say it with the clarity that comes after. I've tried to locate the exact moment it shifted, can't find it. There's no single Tuesday to point at and say, before this, after this. There's just the gradual reorientation, the way a ship drifts off course when nobody's watching the compass. Not negligence, exactly distraction. Life has a lot of content. You look up and the heading is different. By year 10 we were pointed at entirely different destinations, and the kindness we felt for each other wasn't enough to reroute either one. Kindness and compatibility turned out to be different navigational instruments. I wish someone had explained that earlier. I'm not sure explanation would have held distance between. Not an argument, not a betrayal. We sat down one morning, Sunday, the kind of Sunday that exists to make things harder, and named it. The naming took about an hour. We were very careful with each other, very gentle. The gentleness of people who still care, but have accepted the caring isn't sufficient. I've been in messier endings. This one was just sad, clean and sad. I think about the 11 years without the verdict that it failed. 11 years of a real thing that eventually ran its course. That's not failure, that's just duration. Some things are supposed to be finite. I'm still learning that finite doesn't mean wrong. The dog, space in the bed, the rituals we kept past their time, the particular way she laughed at bad movies. All of it real, all of it gone, all of it mine to carry. Still grateful for all 11,
Even the hard ones,
especially those peace.
distance between, distance between.
You don't get a warning. You just get the time you have and the question of what you did with it. Start counting. Yo. I started the inventory at 42, not because something happened, because I read a statistic about the average number of summers a person gets, and did the arithmetic and sat with the number for a long time. It wasn't morbid, it was motivating, in the specific way that accurate information about finite resources tends to be. The inventory isn't about the accomplishments, it's about the attention, where it went, whether it went where I intended, whether the intention was mine or inherited from someone else's idea of what a life should accumulate. I found a lot of borrowed intention in the ledger, significant square footage devoted to other people's definitions. Inventory, not the eulogy version, actual one. What you spent your attention on, whether the spending matched the values or just the urgency. The honest account before you need someone else to do it for you. Here's what I found on the asset side. The relationships I actually maintained, the mornings I was present for, the specific conversations I remember, not because they were important, but because I was actually there inside them. The books that changed the operating system, the moments of genuine, unperformed joy, rare but locatable. Here's what I found on the other side. The years I spent optimizing for an outcome I never interrogated. The relationships I kept at managed distance. The mornings I was physically present and cognitively elsewhere. The conversations I conducted from behind a performance of engagement. The assets and the liabilities are both real. I'm not here to prosecute the liabilities, I'm here to reallocate toward the assets. That's the whole project. Inventory, not the eulogy version. Answer, not the eulogy version, the actual one. What you spent your attention on, whether the spending matched the values or just the urgency. The honest accounting before you need someone else to do it for you. Inventory, not the eulogy version. Answer, not the eulogy version. The death of people you love is a form of information, brutal and specific and irreplaceable. My friend Marcus at 47, 3 weeks from diagnosis to the end, he was in the middle of his life, not finished, interrupted. He had things he was gonna do, not procrastinating, just spacing them out the way you space things when the spacing seems reasonable. The spacing was not reasonable, the spacing was a bet that lost its premise in 3 weeks. I'm not living in the shadow of that, I'm living in the light it produced, the particular luminosity of understanding that the spacing is a bet. Sometimes the bet pays out, sometimes it doesn't. The inventory is just trying to be honest about the odds while there's still something left to count. This is the count, every day is the count. Inventory, not the eulogy version. Action, not the eulogy version, actual one. What you spent your attention on, whether the spending matched the values or just the urgency. The honest accounting before you need someone else to do it for you. No. Inventory, not the eulogy version. Action, not the eulogy version. Still time. No, not unlimited. Still time. Still time. No, not unlimited. Still time. Still time. No, not unlimited. Still time. Use it like you know that piece. No.
Preserve the essence before everything goes invisible. Strictly analog, watch the swing. I dig past the plastic, find a physical piece underneath a record that survived the infrastructure and the teeth. Dust in the groove is a signature, years with an address. The laughter and the grief compressed into a lateral stress. We catalog the evidence before the archive goes dark, so the righteous tradition doesn't lose its watermark. Part of the X shimmers like heat above a surface that's been struck. The direction is implicit and the listen adjusts. I stack the syllables with the density of someone who knows that the sentence has to hold before the meaning shows. Kick is a heartbeat that refuses the pacemaker's correction, filling the hollow of the cup without the instruction. Step away from the mechanical, the trap is in the grid. The musical architecture belongs to what the analog did. Warm settling in like the moment the radiator catches. Organic, unrequested, filling all Alice leaf patches.
Analog dog drive, the original soul preserved. The human in the signal is the thing that's being served. In a hard life, the original soul preserved. Analog dog drive, the original soul preserved. The human in the signal is the thing that's being served. In a hard life.
Yo, make convert the record into integers and metadata. Leave the irreducible residue for later, and for later numbers are sterile. They eliminate the mistake that is indistinguishable from the choice a living hand can make. I play the vinyl for the moment, the bassist lifts the bow. The microtone of the surrender is the thing no plug-in knows. Vocal on the crown, the arrangements not buried in the cluster. The message needs the air around it, context and a luster. We navigate the levels like a conversation, not a formula. The pain of the unnecessary is a different kind of normal. Console as a vessel, navigating by the meter and the ear. The community is carried past the radius of fear. Craft demands the patience that the deadline will contest. The standard isn't a ceiling, it's the floor beneath the rest. Volume with a deliberate touch, weight distributed even. The formula holds up because it's something to believe in.
Analog archive, the original soul preserve. The human in the signal is the thing the thing insert. Analog archive, the original soul preserve. Analog archive, the original soul preserve. The human in the signal is the thing the thing insert. Analog archive, the original soul preserve.
Technology accelerates toward everything and nothing. Water finds the lowest ground regardless of the rushing. Foundation holds across the renovation and the shift. The culture doesn't need the platform, it needs the riff. I watch the reels, two spools in a lateral negotiation. Physical evidence of a chance before the digitization. We capture the lightning in the moment that it crossed the room to radiate specific long past the trend's expiration. The mastery's in the detail that the press release omits. The craft that keeps the vehicle together when the axle splits. Honor the architects who chose the background over credit, who built the thing worth keeping and quietly forgot it. Archive open, the curriculum holds no admission fee for anyone with an intellectual need and the capacity to see.
Analog archive, the original soul preserve. The human in the signal in the thing insert. Analog archive, the original soul preserve. Analog archive, the original soul preserve. The human in the signal in the thing insert. Analog archive, the original soul preserve. Keep the reel spinning, preserve the vibration. Forever peace. Forever peace. Forever peace.
Yeah. Two people in the same room, different rooms. That's the whole problem right there. Yeah. We were fluent in each other once. Specific shorthand to shared years. The look across the dinner table that carried an entire conversation in a half second. I don't know exactly when the translation broke down. These things don't have a date, they have a slow accumulation of small decisions to not say the difficult thing tonight. To not open the particular drawer, to let the moment pass, because the moment passing is less costly than the moment breaking open. The problem is the moments pass and the thing inside them doesn't. It just relocates, finds a new address, becomes the quality of silence at 9 p.m. when we're both reading, and neither of us is reading. Parallel line. The gold rose, candy little line. Say it now. Parallel line. The gold rose, parallel line. Parallel lines don't converge. That's the definition, not a metaphor. The metaphor, the methodology. Parallel lines don't converge. That's the definition, not a metaphor. The mathematics. Nothing I'm saying now. We were moving in the same direction at the same speed and calling that together. It wasn't together, it was adjacent. The distance between adjacent and together is the distance. I mean, I loved her with the kind of love that requires the other person to be slightly different. That's not love, that's a project. She was doing the same thing in the other direction. We were both renovating a person who would not agree to be renovated. Neither of us said it plainly. We said it in the way you say things when you need them to be heard, but also need deniability. Sideways coded, wrapped in something reasonable. The conversations we didn't have filled the apartment more than we did. By the end we were both living mostly and in the space between what was said and what was meant. That's a very small space, harder to breathe in than it looks. And it looks, so parallel lines lines don't converge. That's the definition. A beautiful line of four, like them falling about the dinosaur, yeah. Hey, how the little lines don't converge. That's the definition. A beautiful line of four, like the madness.
Yeah. We ended it on a Wednesday, which felt wrong. Wednesdays should be too ordinary for the end of 6 years, but that's the thing about real endings. They don't wait for the dramatic moment. They arrive when the last available reason to wait has been quietly exhausted. We were kind to each other at the end. That was the saddest part. The kindness of people who would finally stop trying to make the other person into the person they needed them to be. I think about the parallel sometimes, not with grief exactly, with something more like curiosity. The two lines, the shared direction, the unbridgeable gap. What if we learned to name the gap earlier? What if we sat inside it instead of avoiding it? I don't know, the lines keep moving. That's the only honest answer. Not a failure, a geometry that didn't fit. Still, sorry, peace.
Parallel line. I'm held for the count of four. Yeah, parallel line. I'm held for the count of four.
Yeah.
Parallel lines. I'm held for the count of four.
But you wanna treat it different.
Parallel lines.
Still, I'm sorry, peace.
The dying takes longer than the death. Nobody tells you that part. I'm telling you. The first sign was the keys. He put them in the refrigerator and laughed about it like it was a joke. And we laughed with him because the alternative was to not laugh. Then the names started slipping. Not ours, not yet. Just peripheral people, acquaintances, a neighbor's dog. We told ourselves that was normal, that everyone forgets the neighbor's dog. We were managing the information the way you manage a fire that's still small enough to manage. The Tuesday he forgot my mother's name, the fire became a different kind of fire. We didn't say that out loud for 3 more months. The long goodbye. Not the death, but the approach to it. The slow revision of the person into someone who contains the person. The way a photograph contains a room. You grieve while they're still there. That's the particular cruelty of it. I drove him to the appointment on a Thursday. He talked the whole way about a fishing trip from 1987. I wasn't born yet, I let him talk. The details were specific, the color of the cooler, what my uncle said when the line broke, the particular quality of light at 5 in the morning. Over a lake in Georgia, he was more present in 1987 than he was in the car with me. I thought about that a lot, the brain protecting what it loved first. The oldest room's the last to close. By the time we parked, he told me twice. I said, that sounds like a good day. Both times, it was a good day. Both times, the long goodbye. Not one moment, but 1,000. Two griefs happening simultaneously. The grief for the person who is leaving, and the grief for the relationship you won't finish. The conversations you kept deferring because there was always more time. Now the window is specific and narrowing, and some of those conversations are no longer available. He wouldn't understand them anyway. That's not tragic, that's just the logistics. The tragic part is I knew the window was always finite, and I lived as if it wasn't. That's not guilt, that's just the ordinary human failure to metabolize mortality until it's standing in the room. I hold his hand on Sundays. He doesn't always know whose hand, but he holds back. The body remembers what the mind releases. That's what I have now. That's enough. That's what I'll carry. The long goodbye, not one moment but 1,000. The long goodbye, not one moment but 1,000. Still here, both of us. For now.